together, starting to click in all three phases, putting these four-quarter games together. And so being able to see that the last 2 weeks, if they can keep building off what they're doing, I really think we got something special towards the end of the season.
Bryce, let's talk about that identity a little bit. This is a Baylor team that in the first 6 games of the year averaged 138 yards on the ground per game, under 4 yards per carry, and really didn't get it going well. And granted, we should acknowledge, one of them was a non-conference game against Utah, but they played 3 of the conference's top 4 defenses in the first half of the season. They played the 2 teams that are right now in pole position to reach Arlington, and another team in Utah that was considered a favorite to win the Big 12 when they were at full strength. We've always known the second half of the schedule looked a little more favorable on paper, and it's played out that way. Last week and this week you faced 2 of the worst defenses overall in terms of what they've given up in the Big 12 this year, 15 and 16 in Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. Next week you've got the 13th ranked defense in the Big 12 in TCU. So I recognize the defenses aren't as good as we've been seeing, but it seems like you're not just doing what you should against a defense that struggled, you're doing a little more. I mean, when you put together 600 yards rushing on the ground total over a 2-week period, you're doing something right no matter who you're playing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, too, the games we ended up losing as well, those were games we could have won. I mean, everyone want to say we could have won, we could have done that. The fact is we didn't, but I think we had a shot. And it just kind of took a couple more games, a couple of those losses to kind of figure out who we are as a team, who our leaders are, how are we going to respond to adversity. And so it seems like those guys, like you mentioned, Matt Jones, you got Sawyer, and you got some of those other guys on the offense side of the ball who are stepping up and who are being leaders, and they're making plays when plays need to be met. I think when Matt Jones had that sack in the third quarter, I think that kind of brought a lot of momentum to him because that was the first time they got pressure on the quarterback all day. And so it's hard on your secondary guys when you aren't getting that much pressure up front. It just causes them to have to cover a little bit longer than you want to. And so when you can get a spark like that, I think that really energizes and motivates your guys to keep it going, step up a little bit more. And so guys who have been stepping up and who have been the leaders this last couple of games are starting to show and make plays when they need to make plays.
Well, let's talk about Matt Jones a little bit more, Bryce. No one more well-suited to talk about the linebacker spot than you. You know, Matt Jones got that hit on Ollie Gordon at the goal line. That came in the early second quarter. That probably in a lot of ways changed the game. They get 7 there or even 3. It's that much closer the rest of the way. But he knocks the ball out of Gordon's hands when he looked like he had an opening to the end zone. Baylor's Steve Linton recovers, and that was just one. You look at Matt Jones's line, 12 tackles, 10 of them solo, a forced fumble, 3 tackles for loss, and a sack. He was everywhere tonight for the Bears, and an emotional game, right? You're talking about a senior is, kind of the home stretch of his career. You've got a great running back in Ollie Gordon who was chirping the entire game, and it looked like Matt was chirping right back, and he was everything you want that leader to be this evening.
Yeah, he stepped up in a big way, and when you play like that and you kind of have that passion and showing that you're all over the field, that's contagious. Guys notice that, your teammates notice it, coaches notice it. And so, I mean, kind of the way he's prepared this whole season, it was a matter of time until he had a game like that. The way he prepares, he studies, he practices. And so that's a well-deserved game, but it's no surprise to me that he had a game like that because it was just bound to happen. And so you have guys like that, a guy who's been in the program for a long time. He really cares about the program too. I mean, so I'm really happy for him having a game like that, especially on homecoming. Bunch of friends, family in town, and so it's a big stage. And so he did a great job, and I think it's, like I said, it's contagious for those other guys, especially the younger guys, to watch him play like that.
Let's give a few other numbers in this game now as we talk about some of the key themes. We gave you Matt Jones's numbers, and they were fantastic. First, a few team numbers. Baylor outgains Oklahoma State 565 total yards to 433, despite the fact that Oklahoma State actually ran 18 more plays than the Bears did. Oklahoma State had success through the air, 359 yards. Baylor 222 yards on just 19 attempts. That's over 10 yards per passing attempt. And the run game, obviously huge. Baylor with its biggest rushing total in 3 years. They had 400 yards against Texas Southern in 2021, and then a little over 300 against Kansas to begin the Big 12 season in 2021. Well, today, 343 yards on 38 carries. That's 9 yards a pop. Dawson Pendergrass with a rushing line that, frankly, looks like an elite receivers line. 6 carries, 142 yards, and a touchdown. Bryson Washington, 17 for 78. Sawyer Robertson, 8 for 73, and a touchdown. Richard Reese, 6 for 52. Through the year, Ashton Hawkins, a big game. 4 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown, including a highlight reel touchdown catch when he went up and partly one-handed brought the ball in a crowd and took it into the end zone for a touchdown. Sawyer Robertson, 11 of 19, 222 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. And, Bryce, I think you look at those numbers, it's clear there were a lot of big plays in there. Dawson Pendergrass pretty much authored a 4-play, 99-yard drive by himself. But not only that, the team together had 16 big plays on the game, 6 of them through the air, 10 of them on the ground. And you can't rely on the big play, but that was the weapon tonight. It seemed like every time Baylor needed a big play, well, there's Dawson Pendergrass slipping a tackle, or on his last game-sealing touchdown, slipping 2 to 3 tackles and just kind of pushing 2 guys out of his way for the long touchdown. Sawyer Robertson, that spectacular touchdown. It seemed like there was always someone willing to step up and make a big play when the team needed it.
Yeah, I mean, you have explosive plays like that. I mean, that keeps everyone engaged, keeps the fans engaged, it keeps your teams engaged. And so when you need a big play, it seemed all of those guys stepped up. And so, I mean, the last time I can remember having a bunch of plays like that, it might have been the 13 or 14 team back in the day. And so, I love seeing those big explosive plays. I mean, on that Dawson Pendergrass touchdown, you love getting the linemen involved, pushing them through. You see guys are working together and playing as a team. And so plays like that really it was great for just great for everyone. I just really enjoyed watching that today.
Yeah, I think we need to mention someone whose name's been brought up a couple times in the past week, and I will fully admit the nuances of offensive line play are not always something that I readily see until you kind of go back and look a little bit. But Sidney Fugar has been shifted to left tackle. This is now 3 games in a row, and we've been solid to excellent with him there. Now, I realize – you're talking about the offensive line. You're talking about 5 guys. You're not just talking about one guy. But sometimes moving one guy to the right spot makes everyone's job easier. And it seems like that's been the case. Again, 600 yards total in the last 2 games on the ground. Another game, Baylor went 2 straight games without allowing a sack or a tackle for loss. Now, there was a little more of that today, but Oklahoma State was blitzing to get it right. They were bringing some heat there at times today. Oklahoma State finished with 2 tackles for loss and a sack. But you can live with that, right? You can live with that. And I think it's clear that transition has brought something to the offensive line. You talk about that identity. Maybe he's played a role in that.
Definitely. I mean, anytime you can rush for 200, 300 yards, that changes the game. I mean, you control the ball. You control keeping the defense on the field, getting them tired, and it just beats you down. Anyone who runs 200-300 yards on you, as a defense, that kills your morale like that. It's not fun when you're on that side of the ball and they're just hammering it down your throat. And so the last 2 weeks, I think we've done a great job of doing that. And if you can keep that up, all that's going to do is help Sawyer open up his passing game. So, I mean, they go hand in hand. If you got a dominant running game, you're going to have a dominant passing game, just because it's going to make it a lot easier for him to sit back there, and the defense is going to be a little bit more aggressive playing the run. It's going to open up at the back end. So I'm going to be curious to see how TCU comes in with their game plan with the back-to-back 200-plus rushing yard games that Baylor's put on. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they accommodate for that.
TCU, who, by the way, scored the last 14 points late in the ball game to stun Texas Tech today, 35-34. We're going to talk more about this later. Hey, that's shaping up to be a fun week, Bryce. You're going to be here with a lot of your old teammates from those 13 and 14 Big 12 championship teams. We're going to have our arch rival in the house at a blackout game, and both teams are playing better football than maybe they were at the beginning of the year. It's shaping up for a special night.
I know it takes some time. Beginning of the season, you kind of don't know who you are usually. You kind of find that identity, and it seems kind of both teams are on that track of doing that, and this is no better time of the year to find yourself and find your identity to try to finish out the season strong. So next week's going to be a good one.
As we head to break, we'll mention one more thing, Bryce. You talked about the fact that Baylor had been close in some games early. And the reality is you expect a lot of games in this Big 12 conference to be close. And if you lose close games often enough, your record's not going to be near where you want it to be. But is it possible that these last 2 weeks, and particularly if we build a streak at the end of the year, kind of adds a little validation? I think sometimes when a team's 2-4, you could say, oh, we were so close, and it kind of sounds like, well, that's, kind of losers are the ones who are saying, oh, it was so close. Well, the reality is we're starting to win a little bit, and I don't know, does that add a little validation to those games, those moments when we couldn't quite close against Colorado, or we had guys injured or suspended and couldn't start against BYU? Maybe we were about as good as we looked then. We just needed to get it going. Yeah,
I think it just comes down to, like I said, like every offseason is so critical now with how many moving parts there are, and now that it's going to take teams longer to figure out who they are. And I just am going back to that, and just the games, those close games that we've lost, those games suck to lose. And so the fact that we've had multiple of those, the guys might just be tired of it, and coaches are tired of it, and so maybe that's what they needed to kind of move people around, figure out what's working, what's not working. And the last 2 games, I think they've done a great job of feeding into that and being able to fix what they needed to fix. The bye week, I guess, helped tremendously. And so if they can just keep doing what they're doing, fixing the small mistakes that are kind of still holding us back, I think we have a good chance, like I keep saying, just go 1 week at a time, go 1-0 each week, and I think we're on that path.
They're resilient. They've shown that, and now they are winning as well. We're brought to you by Rudy's, proud sponsor of Baylor football. Be sure to stop by your local Rudy's or Rudy's.com for some real Texas barbecue. Enjoy 100% oak smoked meats, delicious sides, and Rudy's signature sauce. Don't forget, Rudy's serves breakfast tacos every day until 10 a.m. Dominant running game, big playability. It all adds up to a homecoming win for the Bears in the Sailor Bear helmets here on this Saturday. We'll take a timeout, and when we come back, we'll have our Game Day Rewind segment. We'll hear the big plays, many of them as called by the voice of the Bears, John Morse. That's coming up straight ahead as we roll on the Postgame Fan Forum here on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
First Central Credit Union is cheering for the Bears. Our team advantages are 5% APY free reward checking. Enjoy ATM-free refunds and be on the winning side with direct deposits 2 days early. Huddle up with First Central to make deposits 24/7 at our ATMs and suit up in a free new member t-shirt. Visit online at firstcentralcu.com. Everything we do for you.
Eligibility and application requirements apply. APY equals annual percentage yield. Member NCUA.
Premier ER and Urgent Care has all the convenience of urgent care with all the expertise of an ER, all under one roof. At every visit, be seen by ER-trained staff with on-site lab and CT, X-ray, ultrasound, and EKG. Here, you pay for the appropriate level of care that you receive, and we are in network with most major insurance providers. Premier ER and Urgent Care has 4 convenient locations serving Texas: San Marcos, Temple, Waco, and Woodway. To learn more, visit www.premier.care.
It's Ram Power Days at Allen Samuels in Waco. Get the 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab with an incredible $15,000 off MSRP. Or drive away in a 2024 Ram 2500 Tradesman Crew Cab with $10,000 off MSRP. A great selection with over 350 new to choose from. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Hurry into Allen Samuels in Waco today. First responders get an extra $500 off.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Are you a proud Baylor fan? Do you love prizes? The Baylor Sports app allows fans to track their attendance across athletic events and earn points using Baylor Bold Rewards. Baylor Athletics wants to reward the most loyal fans for cheering on the Bears, so register online today at BaylorBoldRewards.com or download the Baylor Sports app straight to your phone. Prizes this year are better than ever, so start earning your points today.
From the Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios, this is KRZI Waco, K222DC Waco, K265DV Temple, ESPN Central Texas.
You're listening to Baylor Football on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
It's a winning day for the Bears here on this homecoming Saturday 2024, 38-28 victory over Oklahoma State. The Bears improved their overall record to 4-4. They'll try to pull within a game of bowl eligibility next week against TCU. Baylor now 2-3 in Big 12 action. Appreciate you being with us here on the Fan Forum alongside Baylor legend Bryce Hager. I'm Derek Smith. If you want to join in the conversation, you can tweet us using the hashtag BUFanForum. You can comment as well on the Baylor Athletics Facebook and YouTube channels. Time now for our Game Day Rewind segment. We'll listen to the big plays in this game. It's called by John Morris, J.J. Joe, and Ricky Thompson. By the way, congratulations to Ricky Thompson, honored on the field during the game, his 300th consecutive Baylor broadcast as the sideline analyst. 25 years he's been doing that. So sick 'em, Ricky. Always enjoy hearing his thoughts, and need to see him honored on the field before the game. All right, let's take a look at how this game began, and it began somewhat inauspiciously, if you will. Baylor got a big play to Michael Trigg, which was a sign of things to come, at least in terms of big plays on the day, but Baylor turned the ball over on downs. Oklahoma State got a big third down pass to Brennan Presley, who Baylor fans won't mind not seeing him again for a while. He finished the day 15 catches for 183 yards and a touchdown. But the Baylor defense was able to bow up inside the red zone and hold Oklahoma State to a field goal. Baylor would get a field goal later on in the first quarter and tie the game up at 3. That's when both teams traded turnovers. Sawyer Robertson was blitzed, threw a pass up for grabs that he probably should have either held on to or just really tried to zip out of bounds. Instead, it was picked off, and that gave Oklahoma, that snuffed out a potential Baylor scoring drive. However, Oklahoma State would give the ball back would give the ball back to the Bears early in the second quarter, and it was that play we mentioned. Matt Jones, as Ollie Gordon was about to take it in, Matt Jones was able to smack the ball out of his hands. It was recovered by Steve Linton. Baylor got the ball at the 1-yard line. So you're thinking, okay, we need to get out of the shadow of your own goalpost. Bryce, when teams are backed up, sometimes there's a sense of we just need to get a couple of first downs, right? I mean, you need someone to at least give you some breathing room, and Dawson Pendergrass did more than that.
Oh, yeah, Dawson did a great job stepping up to the plate and being able to break it for his, at the time, his longest career run. And so, but as a defense, that's your dream. You love when offenses are backed up like that. But you got to expect they're going to run the ball. So the fact that they kind of knew that was coming and we were still able to break a run for that amount of yards was a great response to that.
Yeah, well, and in that play that Bryce just mentioned, he ran for 48 yards, which at the time was his the longest run of his career, but he would in fact best that later on in the game. A couple plays later, he ripped off a 39-yard run, and then it was Hal Presley taking the baton and the pass from there.
He's got 87 on 2 runs on this possession, yeah. Fake the handoff, pass, left side of the end zone, caught, touchdown Baylor! Sawyer Robertson to Hal Presley, and the Bears are in the end zone. They take the lead over Oklahoma State.
Well, I'll tell you, 4 plays, 99 yards. Hal Presley with the 12-yard reception. But you heard what they said there. 2 carries there for Dawson Pendergrass on that drive for 87 yards. That is ridiculous. But Oklahoma State would answer just a few moments later as Brennan Presley again caught a pass. Yeah, boy, it looked like Baylor had him dead to rights behind the line of scrimmage, but he slipped out of 2 tackles, tiptoed it down the sideline, and ran it in to make it 10-10 with the extra point. And I think that's when we kind of maybe knew, Bryce, okay, it's going to be a long day potentially. It's going to be a close day. And I guess you credit Oklahoma State, right? They're a proud program. They found that open guy over and over again in Brennan Presley. But, boy, I mean, you got to wrap him up there. You got to hold him to a long field goal attempt.
Yeah, I know. Like you said, these games are going to come down to very close scores toward the end. The Big 12, there's great competition every week. And so, I mean, you can't early in the first quarter, early in the second quarter, like these games are going to be tight and just who can battle through all 4 quarters. That's why it's so important. You can't just be good 1 quarter or 2 quarters. You got to be good all 4 quarters.
Well, that tied it up at 10 apiece, but Baylor was more than able to answer quickly. 6 plays, 73 yards. They found themselves at the 1-yard line, and a name we don't call a lot got the first touchdown of his Baylor career.
Pendergrass in the backfield. Sawyer Robertson, the quarterback, in the shotgun. Claps his hands, takes the snap. He will drop it off. Touchdown, Baylor! Kloffenstein with a touchdown catch for the Bears. Baylor does regain the lead over the Cowboy.
Matthew Kloffenstein, the tight end, just a little pass in the flat. It's nice having those weapons when the running game's going. Baylor's got more wideouts who are doing good things this year, but boy, that tight end, he can be the guy who is able to slide back there, and that was the case with Kloffenstein.
That's what I love about Sawyer Robertson right now. I mean, he's able to see the whole field, and he's being able to dish the ball out to multiple receivers. It seems like he doesn't have a favorite. He's able to see the field, find who's open, and get it to the guy who needs to get the ball. I mean, another game with seven plus targets, different receivers, and so he's just doing a great job of seeing the field and getting the ball to the guy who's open.
That made it 17-10 in favor of the Bears, but again, the Cowboys would answer a late touchdown drive capped off by an Ollie Gordon 2-yard rush with 18 seconds left. Made it a 17 to 17 ball game. So we go to the second half. Both teams sputter to start the third quarter, but Baylor would indeed get it going after a long punt return from Josh Cameron. They needed just 3 plays to find the end zone, and what a catch it was. A highlight reel grab from Ashton Hawkins.
First and 10 from their own 43 for the Bears. Monterey Baldwin in motion, left to right. Snap back to Robertson.
Corner blitz.
Pressure's coming. Robertson's going to run around that corner to the 50 and out of bounds at the Oklahoma State 45.
Looks like that is run by Sawyer. We'll see if we've got that Ashton Hawkins touchdown reception.
We do.
On an incredible play here. Here's the call of that one.
First and 10 Bears. They're at the Cowboys 33. Snap back to Robertson. Fakes the handoff. Lofts it in the air.
Thanks, Derek. Sorry about that.
Hawkins, he's got it! Touchdown, Bears! 33 yards from Sawyer Robertson to Ashton Hawkins. Baylor has the lead on Oklahoma State here in the third quarter.
In between 2 guys, he goes up and gets a big paw on the football. Partially one-handed, he brings it around for the catch. I mean, that's one of those, you see those segments on ESPN, Bryce, where they talk about you got Mossed or certainly just SC Top 10. I think he's going to be on those. That was a great individual play by Hawkins.
Yeah, you love when stuff like that happens. It's great for the sideline, great for your offense. I mean, great ball by Sawyer too, but an awesome job by Hawkins going up there, high pointing the ball, not just catching it, but staying on his feet and finding the end zone.
You know, I mentioned this early on there, but Bryce, there was a lot of jawing going on. Oklahoma State was pretty talkative today, and the defensive backs had been talking to the Baylor wideouts quite a bit, and noticed Ashton Hawkins celebrated a little more than you normally see. I don't know. Sometimes when you make a big play, when people are talking a lot of noise at you, I guess you got to shoot up just a little bit. Yeah, it wasn't anything too crazy. It was just a little dance towards the Baylor fans in the end zone. He got the touchdown, and that made it 24-17.
All family fun.
All family fun, yes, sir. He made it 24-17, and then a big play came late third quarter. Baylor was able to get a sack on Bowman. They also were able to force a holding call, and that took them back from inside the 5-yard line. They had to settle for a field goal. That made it 24-20, and that was big because if Baylor gives up a touchdown there, that's late third quarter. The entire fourth quarter is different. Instead, Baylor was able to take the subsequent possession and the 2 possessions later and make it a 2-score ball game. We talked about the big plays in this one. Baylor had 10 of them on the ground. This one here came on a 2nd and 17 play. You were hoping to get a decent play to make it third and manageable. Well, Sawyer Robertson did better than that.
Trigg in motion. Sawyer Robertson takes the snap. He's going to run it up the middle to the 30, 25. Oh, he's going to take it all the way. Sawyer Sawyer Robertson runs it in, 41 yards for the Baylor touchdown.
What an individual, what a great play by Sawyer Robertson. It seems like he's got one of those just about every game for the Bears, Bryce. So, I think as we're watching sometimes, we see the hole open and he goes through it. But take us through, particularly from a defensive perspective, what is he seen and what makes him so good at not just picking up a first down, but often taking him to the house?
I mean, yeah, you got to think now, like you said, he's done it multiple times, several games now. And so you got to think that's got to be on the defensive coordinator's mind of, hey, make sure your eyes, especially if you're in zone coverage, make sure your eyes are still on Sawyer. Make sure if he tucks the ball, find where he's at and go get him, because he's doing a great job of running when he has to, but it's not his first option. He tries to find who he's looking for downfield, but if he has to, he runs, and he's very efficient when he does it.
Well, that one from 41 yards out gave the Bears an 11-point lead. And again, holding to the field goal was different because it's a 2-score game at that point with 9 minutes to go. Baylor did a solid job today on Ollie Gordon, who led the nation in rushing yards last year. He finished today with 17 carries for 78 yards and a touchdown. But he would add another touchdown and then threw a 2-point conversion to boot to pull Oklahoma State to within 3 at 31-28. So the question would be, could the Bears close? First half of the season, it felt like maybe they'd find a way to give the ball back to you or miss a field goal or just fall short in some form or fashion. That would not be the case in this ball game because the offensive line and the running game were ready to close it out. And in this case, Dawson Pendergrass was the closer despite having 2 guys basically wrapping him up before on his way to the end zone.
13-yard gain to the 45. Move the chains, keep the clock going. 3:23 and counting. Yeah. Sawyer Robertson going to milk that clock for every second you can. Handoff, Pendergrass. Up the middle, keeps his footing. Oh, and he breaks through. Look at Dawson Pendergrass. He's going to score. Holy cow. He kept his footing running right up the middle, somehow came through there, and he runs it 55 yards for the Baylor touchdown. Dawson Pendergrass.
Great call there by J-Mo and JJ. And, I mean, you could hear the enthusiasm. For people who only saw it once, if you're on social media, I'd encourage you to go back and watch the replay of it. I mean, he literally had 2 guys standing right in front of him to bring him down. Found a way to get through. I guess he said to the post-game media that Sidney Fugar gave him a little added push through traffic there. But what a play by Dawson Pendergrass, who, again, 6 carries for 142 yards in that touchdown there. That was a career-long 55-yard run. And Bryce, we saw this last year. We've seen it again this year. He is a guy who just – the play is never over until his knees are on the ground or until he's completely on the ground, right? He's just got something about him, almost like the movie villain. You say you got to make sure they're really dead. You better make sure he's really to the ground or he might well not be.
I mean, he's a guy who's definitely taking full advantage of every opportunity he has. I mean, you get the ball 6 times. He's running for over 100 yards and a touchdown and have a 55-yard run, a 48-yard run, another 30-plus yard run that was called back. I mean, he had a great game today, and he's a guy who's completely taking advantage of the opportunity he's getting, and he's making a big impact when he's on the field.
Yeah, you mentioned that that was called back, that running out that was called back that might have put him up around 180. Sawyer Robertson, though, made sure that that didn't come back to haunt the Bears, right? Because then Sawyer, a couple plays later,
took it to the house
himself. So, I don't know if that's like a ball don't lie kind of thing or what, but he was able to get the big play and give the Bears the lead there, extend the lead, and then of course that Dawson Pendergrass run made it 38-28. Oklahoma State had about 3 minutes left to try in desperation time to get something going, but the Baylor defense was there to snuff out their last gasp.
We're down at 10 for Oklahoma State, down by 10, a minute and a half to play. Pass, left side is intercepted. Baylor's got the pick. The first of the day for the Bears. Interception. LeVar Thornton has it for Baylor, and that should seal it. A homecoming win for the Bears. Oklahoma State.
That was LeVar Thornton with the interception, and that was the finishing flourish on a 38-28 Baylor win over Oklahoma State, a win that evens Baylor's record on the season now at 3-4. Pulls them within a game of 500 in Big 12 play at 2-3. Oklahoma State falls to 3-5 overall, 0-5 in Big 12 play, and they're going to have a fantastic November just to keep their 18-year bull streak going. And and Bryce, I'll say this: I think it says something too about what Baylor did. I know Oklahoma State is struggling right now. They came in 0-4. They have injuries to Colin Oliver, one of the nation's best defensive ends, Nick Martin, a linebacker, Ollie Gordon. Has really not been fully healthy. But you played the game. I feel like some of these proud programs, there's something about them that even when they're down, you're going to find a way to get a good effort from them, and that was the case today, which I think adds a little something in my mind to Baylor's win, because Oklahoma State just isn't a program that's going to roll over, and they didn't today.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, especially in the Big 12. I mean, every team's good. I mean, Oklahoma State has a history of being a very tough team to play, especially when I was there. They were always a team we always had to worry about, and so yeah, I definitely wouldn't take that for granted. And they showed up. They played well. I just think Baylor was a little bit more prepared and outplayed them, but they're usually a great team, a hard team to play. And so I mean, you got to show up every day. You don't know what team you're going to get or what kind of how they're going to show up, but you got to prepare your best and make sure you're ready to play. Yeah,
you're right, and that's my thing. Like they're 0-5 right now, but Oklahoma State is never an easy out.
That's why you like college football, man. Anything can happen in any week.
Well, that's the case, and today it was Baylor with the 38-28 win. How much of this too feels like any year that something really good has happened for Baylor in most cases, you've had to get by Oklahoma State to get there, right? I mean, looking back at the back-to-back Big 12 championship years, we didn't beat them in 13, but we did in 14 and 2016 made a bowl. That was a tough year, but beat Oklahoma State in 2018, made a bowl under Matt Rule, beat Oklahoma State on a last-second pass to Denzel Mims in the end zone. 2020 and 2019 we beat them.
2021, that Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, just it feels to me like they're a team that for whatever reason, when we have a good year, we got to get by them to get there. Maybe this will end up being a good year before it's all said and done after getting by Oklahoma State today. That is Game Day Rewind. We'll take a timeout, and when we come back, we'll look at other scores around the Big 12 a little later on. Tell you what we liked and what we didn't like here on the Postgame Fan Forum. We'll also get you ready for what is shaping up to be a big game against TCU next week. A reminder, the Baylor Coaches Show presented by Central National Bank live at Rudy's has returned. Join the voice of the Bears, John Morris, in the lineup of Baylor coaches live at Rudy's every Wednesday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. for a chance to hear all the inside scoop on our Baylor athletics programs. This week it's going to be 9-time national champion. Actually, she's 13-time national champion, but 9 of them here at Baylor. Acrobatics and tumbling head coach Felicia Mulkey, and she'll be followed up by Coach Aranda. That is this Wednesday at Rudy's. We'll take a timeout and come back with more from the Postgame Fan Forum. If you want to share your thoughts, hashtag BUFanForum, or you can comment on the Baylor Athletics Facebook and YouTube feeds. More coming after this on the Postgame Fan Forum on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
Thanks for rolling with that, Derek.
Complicated. Butts Law Firm is your one-stop.
He was like, I hit the wrong button. I was like, okay, calm down and hit the right button, and we'll go right back to it.
Guardianship, appointment.
Thanks.
To handle personal or business assets management and disposal, consumer protection, family-related legal matters, or various business-related issues. We are your community firm. Whether you're planning for the future, navigating a probate, or managing a business, our experienced team is ready to guide you every step of the way. Trust us to provide the legal support you need. Call today, 406-641-BUTZ. That's 406-641-2889. Or come by the...
I don't know which play was better, the Hawkins catch or his run.
202 downtown Waukesha. Come see the difference having...
Dawson's, yeah.
...side can make, because at Butts Law Firm, you're...
Yeah, Sawyer's was great, too. I forgot that was 3rd and 17 until you said that, or 2nd and 17. But still,
this season beat the holiday rush.
He was.
For internet.
That offensive lineman, I got to see who that was almost keeping up with him.
5G unlimited sound mode free for 12 months. Our award-winning fiber-powered
Something's clicked because that rushing offense is just amazing now.
secure online shopping. Lock in bigger savings than ever before at Astound.com. Restrictions apply. See Astound.com for details.
Trying to keep up with him, yeah.
At we know
Did a decent job.
about more than the game itself. The taste of victory is unparalleled, but so is the taste of HEB jalapeno poppers hot off the grill. Seeing the best players in their prime is truly something to behold. So is an HEB Prime 1 burger that you grilled to perfection. For low prices on all the things that make game day great and delicious, visit HEB, your official game day headquarters, or use the Buy HEB app to start prepping for game day right away.
You're listening to Baylor Football on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
Bryce Hager and Eric Smith here with you at McLean Stadium. Aaron Sexton, our producer this evening on the Postgame Fan Forum, following a 38-28 Baylor win over Oklahoma State. Been a little while since we've had a Big 12 win at McLean Stadium, but got one today. It was good to see. The Bears have a winning streak, and we'll try to extend it to 3 games next week against TCU, which is going to be a big week as the 13 and 14 Big 12 championship teams come back. Bryce, we're going to save. We got a couple of questions that people have for you on that a little bit later on. But let's take a look at the Big 12 right now, where things are either at the moment or potentially with some of the games today. Again, you look starting the day here, you've got Iowa State and BYU in pole position. They are both undefeated right now. If they continue to win, those will be the 2 teams in Arlington. Then you've got Kansas State, Cincinnati, Colorado, and Texas Tech all starting the day at 3-1. Texas Tech, however, would not finish the day with just 1 loss in Big 12 play, and that is because they gave up 14 unanswered points late in the ball game to TCU in Fort Worth. The Horned Frogs are able to pull out a 35-34 victory. They got an 84-yard pass from Josh Hoover to Eric McAllister with 5 minutes to go, and then were able to hold on for the win. Bryce, this is always a rivalry game, always a big one, and TCU has struggled at times, but, boy, it's clear that something's clicking with him a little bit. Their passing game may be for real. Josh Hoover is among the tops in the conference at passing. Today he finished with 344 yards and 3 touchdowns, and at some point you got to say, the guy's doing it every week, so he's going to be a real challenge for the Bears next week. And what's a big game for both teams who are Baylor with a win, we could jump ahead of them in the conference.
Yeah, and the offensive coordinator, Kendall Browse, is a great coach, and so he'll be dialed in for next week, I'm sure. And so it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out, but I know Coach Rando will be dialed in as well, and so it's going to be a great game. And both teams got momentum now, especially with TCU winning that close game against Tech and our win over Oklahoma State. Next week's going to be a good one.
It is, and that is now going to be a night game at 7 p.m. So with that, Tech falls to 3-2. TCU improves to 3-2. In Big 12 play. Iowa State does not play today. 11th ranked BYU did, and they stayed undefeated. They're now 5-0 in Big 12 action with a 37-24 victory over UCF in Orlando, and the Knights are now 1-4. 3 games are ongoing at the moment. West Virginia trying to climb above 500 in Big 12 play. They have a 17-7 lead in Tucson over the Arizona Wildcats. A minute 2 to go in that one, in the first half, rather, I should say. Arizona trying to kind of climb back to respectability Big 12 record-wise. They are 1-3 at the moment. Down in Houston, the Utah Utes, the Houston Cougars, are tied at 7. A battle of 1 and 3 teams in Big 12 play. You know, we kind of expected Houston to be down around there. Utah, not so much. They've dealt with a lot of injuries, and kind of seems like this year teams go down to Houston rather, and get stuck in a just a hard-fought ball game. They've been kind of slogs, not a lot of points, and that's the case here. It's tied at 7. Kansas has the early lead in Manhattan in the Sunflower Showdown. They have a 7-0 lead over 16th-ranked Kansas State. A long way to go in that one. And then a night game that has some real implications in the Big 12 standings. Cincinnati and Colorado are both 3-1. The Buffaloes host the Bearcats. UC travels to CU. They play at 9:15 tonight. The winner of that game would be the only 4-1 team knocking at the door behind the two undefeated teams in BYU and Iowa State, and that should be a lot of fun. See how that one plays up tonight up in Boulder this evening. Here, it was Baylor with a 38-28 victory over Oklahoma State. Baylor now 2-3 in Big 12 play. The Cowboys are 0-5. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about what we liked, what we didn't like today, and some things Baylor can build on heading into that showdown against TCU next week. That is all on the way up, coming on the Postgame Fan Forum here on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
Premier ER and Urgent Care has all the convenience of urgent care with all the expertise of an ER, all under one roof. At every visit, be seen by ER-trained staff with on-site lab and CT, X-ray, ultrasound, and EKG. Here, you pay for the appropriate level of care that you receive, and we are in-network with most major insurance providers. Premier ER and Urgent Care has 4 convenient locations serving Texas: San Marcos, Temple, Waco, and Woodway. To learn more, visit www.premier.care.
TFNB Your Bank for Life is the official local bank of Baylor Athletics. Find out why more Central Texas are making TFNB their bank for life. Sign up for our Edge checking and savings accounts to earn interest or cash back. With 5 convenient locations and an award-winning mobile app, banking has never been easier. TFNB, your bank for life. Member FDIC.
Come see why Green Eye Associates is voted best in Waco year after year. Enjoy exceptional service and care from Dr. Leanne Green alongside her dedicated optometrist and staff. Receive trustworthy insights on your eye health. Enjoy the impressive variety of contacts and eyewear, and work with the most experienced optical team in Waco. Don't miss the new state-of-the-art dry eye therapies that rejuvenate the eyes and face with safe, non-invasive treatments to restore comfort and quality of life. Green Eye Associates, official optometrist of Baylor Athletics.
Hey Baylor fans, Baylor soccer season is currently underway. Come be a part of the action at Betty Lou Mays Field all season long and watch head coach Michelle Leonard and the Bears battle against the best in the Big 12. Score your tickets for game day right now at BaylorBears.com/tickets. We'll see you at Betty Lou. Sick 'em Bears.
You're listening to Baylor Football. Baylor Football on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
Welcome you back into the Postgame Fan Forum. A 38-28 victory for the Bears today over Oklahoma State. A 2-game winning streak for the Bears. It's modest, but it has been a while since Baylor has won back-to-back games, 2022 to be exact. Now they'll try to make it 3 in a row next week. Bryce, let's talk about some things we liked, some things we didn't like in this ball game, and maybe let's start with the negative first. Get the negative out of the way, and then go to the positive. I'd say one thing for me was the penalties. And I'm not saying they were all legit penalties. Oklahoma State had 12 for 84 yards. Baylor had 8 for 93. There were times it seemed like they were blowing the whistle just about every play. But I think anytime you have 8 penalties against you, you're doing something wrong somewhere. So that's something I'm sure they'll look at the film and clean up between now and next week, or certainly work to. But for me, that was one thing that stood out as an obvious on a pretty positive day to try to clean up for next week.
Yeah, for me, I would say, on defensive side of the ball, we got to get to the quarterback, got to get more pressure, make the quarterback uncomfortable to make mistakes, and get some pressure off the DBs so we don't have to cover as long. Giving up 28 points this week, 35 points last week. We're still giving up a lot of points. Offense is doing a great job of winning these games for us, but on the defensive side, that's too many points.
Well, and Alan Bowman had a strong day, 28 of 42 for 359 yards, a touchdown and an interception for Bowman. And you still kind of want to see too. I'd like to see a little more in the turnover side of things. Baylor was able to get a couple today. Again, you just see, turnovers can be a fluky thing sometimes, but teams that force them have a way of doing that. And man, that was a game-changing turnover that Matt Jones forced at the goal line, because not only did it snuff out 3 or 7 points for the Cowboys, but it led to that touchdown drive, 4-play, 99-yard touchdown drive for the Bears.
Yeah,
big.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so there's some areas we can clean up. Let's talk about what we liked. And Bryce, there were a lot of those today. Where does that start for you?
For me, I'm going to go with just giving it to the offensive line again. I mean, the reason we were able to have 348 yards rushing is those guys up front. They're doing a great job. Another week with that many rushing yards is big time. Those guys don't get a lot of love. They don't get a lot of media attention. Half the time, guys don't even know who they are. But without those guys, you can't even play football. I mean, so those dudes deserve all the credit. Do a great job the last 2 weeks. They keep stepping up to the plate. They get better, mauling the guys up front, creating those running lanes and protecting Sawyer. So hats off to them.
You know, and not only do they often not get a lot of love, they often get – they're all feeling noticed when they do wrong, right? You know, there can be some scorn sometimes. But, again, you're talking about 7.7 yards per carry last week, 9 yards per carry this week today. For the Bears. Sidney Fugar, that move to left tackle has paid dividends for the Bears, but really they all have been doing well. Individual loves to Dawson Pendergrass. I mean, anytime you see 6 carries for 142 yards and a touchdown, you're doing something right. Again, I'll just say he's one of those guys who not only does he get positive yardage, but he really doesn't lose yards. And that right there for a team that at times, I think they're getting better. When you maybe if it's second and long, third and long, but the reality is that's not where you want to be. He's a guy who's not going to make it 2nd and 12 if you hand him the ball on first down.
No, he did a great job. Like we mentioned earlier, man, you get the ball 6 times and you can have over 140 yards rushing and a touchdown and catch the ball out of the backfield for 1 reception for 8 yards. I mean, he's doing a great job. He's taking full advantage of the opportunity he's getting, and yeah, great game by him, and he continues to be very impressive in my eyes.
Yeah, are we starting to see a little bit, you know, you look, when there's balance on offense, good things can happen. It makes it tougher on the defense. You know, we've seen a lot of big plays these last 2 weeks, 16 of them today. You think about some of those last week, those passes to Michael Trigg or Monterey Baldwin or Hal Presley, some good runs there by Bryson Washington. Are we starting to see the dividends of the work that they've been putting in, and is that balance leading to kind of this big playability?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, you to have that stuff happen isn't just, it's not fluke stuff. They practice that stuff in the week. I'm sure they do a great job during the week on practice for those opportunities, and guys are stepping up to the plate. I mean, those explosive plays are awesome, especially on the offense side of the ball, but it can wear off on the defense a little bit. You score first play of the drive, second play, third play, or whatever. They only get the ball for a little bit, and then you got to throw your defense right back out there. And so I know for a defensive guy, I remember when we used to score within the first 2 plays of mostly every series, it felt like, dude, I felt like we were on.
It happened a lot.
I thought we were on the field the whole game. So there's it's a good thing, but for the defense, you get pretty tired pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. Hey, there was always a guy like, teams might score some points, but there was always a guy like you or Eddie Lackey or Sam Hall to get a big play or a pick. And we're going to talk about some of those names here in just a little bit. Yeah, you guys got it done. And now we got a big game that we're going to get to honor you all. You know, the way things were going, you kind of worried. You know, if Baylor had a couple losses, you know, that game would be notable because we're honoring you guys, which it certainly is, but now it's going to be notable because it's a big game to boot, and it just feels right when we're playing TCU that it's a big game and having y'all back next week. So we'll talk about that when we come back. It is Baylor and TCU. It's a blackout game under the lights next Saturday night, and I want to get Bryce's thoughts when we return because it's going to be an emotional week for a lot of guys when we come back. It is Baylor with the win today over Oklahoma State, 38-28. And this is the Postgame Fan Forum on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
Powerful, available iForce V6 engine means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. To your neighbor, it means helping them with their new chainsaw carving hobby.
What do you think of this thing, eh? It's a bearfish birdman wood carving, if I've ever seen one.
To your cousins, the Tundra means as they jump off the boat onto the sandbar.
Now watch this flip.
No, don't. You're gonna...
Cannonball!
Definitely nail it.
To your co-pilots, the Tundra means an extra comfortable journey.
I can just...
You sure can.
And to you, the Tundra means... whoa. Toyota is a proud partner of Baylor Athletics. Now this is a bare necessity. From tailgating to sailgating, the 2025 Tundra is built to take you wherever the road leads, on game day and beyond. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. See packages and options at toyota.com for feature availability.
This season, beat the holiday rush and shop Astound.com for bigger deals, bigger savings, and bigger internet. For a limited time, get Astound Internet for only $20 a month for 2 years. Plus, add 5G unlimited Astound Mobile free for 12 months. Our award-winning fiber-powered internet can handle it all. Faster streaming, better gaming, and secure online shopping. Lock in bigger savings than ever before at Astound.com. Restrictions apply. See Astound.com for details.
It's Ram Power Days at Allen Samuels in Waco. Get the 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab with an incredible $15,000 off MSRP. Or drive away in a 2024 Ram 2500 Tradesman Crew Cab with $10,000 off MSRP. A great selection with over 350 new to choose from. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Hurry into Allen Samuels in Waco today. First responders get an extra $500 off.
Come by. Let's be friends.
You're listening to Baylor Football. Baylor Football on the Baylor Sports Media Network.
Back here at McLean Stadium, where the Bears win today by a score of 38-28 over Oklahoma State. They got another note about Sawyer Robertson's performance. Last week we mentioned he became the first Baylor quarterback to throw for 5 touchdowns in a game since Seth Russell did it in 2015. Well, today he became the first Baylor quarterback to have 3 passing touchdowns and a 40-yard rushing touchdown in a game since Robert Griffin III. So that is some pretty good company there for Sawyer Robertson, and that is we'll see if he can build on that next week against TCU. And that game week is almost upon us here, Bryce. All of a sudden, this is a game that I think people have been anticipating a long time, the chance to honor the 2013-2014 Big 12 championship teams. And on the field, I think it's going to be special. It's going to be special because it's against TCU, nationally televised night game, black uniforms, a blackout for the fans that I think is going to show up really well. So, Bryce, my first question for you is, how are y'all feeling as you get ready for that next week?
I mean, it's going to be awesome. A lot of those guys, I mean, I haven't seen in 10 years, and so it's going to be really cool to reconnect with them, get the weekend to hang out with them, catch up with them. I mean, sure, reminisce about old games, memories we had. I'm sure a lot of them will jog memories I forgot about, so I'm excited to see a lot of those guys. I mean, especially getting to see like guys like Eddie Lackey, Brody Trahan, Sam Hall, the guys who are in the linebacker room with me, man. I miss those guys. I mean, guys got families now, kids, so it's hard to stay in touch as much as you want. So I'm super excited to have a weekend where we can all hang out, and no better team to do it against than TCU.
Can you believe it's been that long? I mean, you talk about 10 years. I keep thinking, like, you guys were the group that, I think really some of those guys who came right before you, too, like RG3 and Elliott Coffey, and those guys played a big role in that, and you kind of took that baton, and by the time it was all said and done, you'd elevated the program to heights that we never seen before, closed out Floyd Casey in an incredible manner, opened McLean Stadium in an incredible manner. I think that you look 10 years later, I mean, the things you guys accomplished, I think they only get even more impressive with time.
Yeah, I mean, I got here at a perfect time. I mean, 2010 was my first year. I was redshirted. I was able to play with RG3 the year he won the Heisman. Then we ended up winning. We went to 5 straight bowl games when I was here. We went 2 Big 12 championships, and so played in Floyd Casey. Got to play the first game at McLean Stadium, and so was definitely blessed to the timing of it all. And so I'm just glad that Baylor's taking the effort to reach out to all of us and make a special night for us, get everyone back in town, them and their families, and all the accommodations they're doing for us, man. And we're really appreciative, and we're really excited to get back and be a part of this game next week.
LTCM comment, he wants to know, what you kind of touched on this, but I'll ask you specifically, what are you looking forward to the most? And he asked if you're going to run the line. I don't know that if that's on the agenda or not. But
so it is on the agenda. and you can opt in, opt out. I'm still TBD on it. So
TBD?
I got to see if the hamstrings are still working.
Okay, you got some time this week.
Yeah, I gotta go do a practice round, see how I'm feeling.
Yeah, well, that'll be fun. That'll be fun to see some of those guys. Who was the fastest guy on those on those 13 and 14 teams?
Probably Tevin. Who is it?
Reese. Tevin Reese
or Corey Coleman.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those dudes. Those dudes can fly.
Tevin Reese and Corey Coleman. Those guys in a foot race would be something to see. And if they got even a step on you, they were gone.
No, yeah, Antoine Goodley. We had some fast dudes.
Well, and part of it, that's why I ask you, because honestly, there'd be some real competition in that.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
I bet Laquan McGowan, he would win it.
Oh, yeah,
McGowan,
yeah.
I hope he's here.
But you know what? I think when people see him if he's there, people see him on the field, that'll bring some joy from the stands for sure. Did you say about 100 people?
Yes, I mean we don't have exact numbers yet, but it's probably somewhere in that ballpark. So I mean, you got those two teams that's a good majority. So I think the turnout's gonna be pretty solid. I mean, a lot of guys still kind of live in this Central Texas area, so I don't think it's too much of a challenge to get here. They did a great job of reaching out to everyone in a timely manner, so I think there was time to kind of make travel plans and adjust accordingly. So I'm excited for the turnout.
Well, I know, Bryce, you're not going to be with us next week because you're going to be enjoying that time with your teammates and their families. So I'll just say I know a lot of people feel this way. We hope it's a great time for y'all. I know it's going to be fun for all of us to see you all out there, and hope that time to reminisce and be celebrated by the Baylor family is really special.
Yeah, we're super excited. Like I said, I'm very thankful for Baylor reaching out and being able to coordinate all this and get everyone back in town for this special game. Like I mentioned, TCU is going to be it's a good team to do it against, but you also got coaches over there that are on our side of the ball back in 2013-14 with Kendall Briles. You had Coach Belton, who's the cornerbacks coach, and then Kaz Kazadi was our strength coach when we were here. So there's a crossover there too, which is really cool to be able to see those guys as well.
That's true. You can say hello and enjoy some friendly rivalry in the game on Saturday night. That's going to be at 7 o'clock here at McLean Stadium next Saturday. We'll be on the air with the Baylor Alumni Tailgate Show at 5 p.m., and then we will have the Baylor the Postgame Fan Forum upcoming after that. Hope you all will be with us. And for now, we will put the finishing touches on this evening, a 38-28 victory over Oklahoma State. Bryce, nothing will be much better than a 3-game winning streak this time, or a little later, but essentially this time next week.
Oh, I know. It's gonna be an exciting game. I'm really excited. I can't wait. And so, like I said, let's just go 1-0 next week.
That sounds good. Well, we appreciate y'all being with us here, and it was indeed a happy homecoming here at Baylor as the Bears defeat Oklahoma State 38-28. That'll wrap things up here on this Saturday evening. I want to say thanks to Aaron Sexton, our producer at our flagship station studios, ESPN Central Texas. Speaking for him and for Baylor legend Bryce Hager, I'm Derek Smith. Again, the final tonight, Baylor 38, OSU 28. The Bears are 4-4 and will try to climb above 500 with a win against TCU on a blackout night under the lights next Saturday. We hope you can join us in person. If not, we'll have everything for you here on the Baylor Sports Media Network. It's going to wrap things up. Thanks for being with us. Happy homecoming and good night for now.
This
great show, guys.
Coverage of Baylor football.
Thanks, Bo.
Network.
See ya. Sick Bears.
Game coverage has been brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, championship partner of Baylor Athletics. Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance online to find a local agent today. Baylor Scott and White Health, the official hospital and healthcare system of Baylor Athletics. Your healthcare, your way. HEB, the official grocer of Baylor Athletics. Proudly serving Texans since 1905. TFNB, your bank for life. The official local bank of Baylor Athletics. Premier ER and Urgent Care. Feel better now. Nissan, innovation that excites. This broadcast has been an exclusive